everybody, glad to have you with me for this video. I feel like ColourPop is just bam, bam, bam with the collections these days, and it is kind of overwhelming. I know a lot of times people will talk about certain brands, and gosh, like I just don't like how they're releasing so much stuff so often. One side of me does understand that, especially as a content creator, because sometimes you feel like you can't keep up. On the other hand, it's like if you don't want to be talking about it, you don't have to, unless I guess you've got a sponsorship deal or something that you have to live out, you know, that you're obligated to do, but you know, you don't have to talk about it, or if you're a consumer, you don't have to buy it. So however you feel about this stuff, I did think that maybe a video was warranted, kind of sorting out several of these collections that have just come out really, really quick, it seems like. I'm going to be talking about the Garden Variety collection, I'm going to talk about Candyland, and the new Sunflower collection, okay? So I'm going to point out those things that I think are really worthwhile within these collections, in my opinion, and then I'll also talk about the things that maybe you could skip. There is a lot of personal preference in here, but there's also some products that kind of overlap that I think it's important to know about, so we're going to sort it all out. And I'm going to try not to take too much time. I say this at the beginning. I'm not sure how long this is going to take, but I don't think it's going to take too long. First off, you saw me using the Garden Variety palette already if you watched my video where I talked about PR I was really excited about. I love the whole vibe, the whole aesthetic of this collection. I think it's gorgeous, and I loved this palette. I feel like this palette is kind of like their Good Sport palette brought back to life, but with a little more variety in here. You've got purple, green, gold, peach. I really love the variety of textures in here, and I like the beautiful range of light to dark. You've got a lot of rich shades, and I remember thinking this a lot when I was putting together the Once palette, and I was thinking, you know, I've got these different light pops that I know I want to be in here, but those don't really matter if you don't have enough different ways to anchor the look. And here, you know, we've got like a dark mauve, dark brown, plum, deeper warm brown, you know, and all those dark shades really make an impact and can look different as they overlap with some of these brighter, more shimmery, shiny shades. And I just love the variety that's in here. These kinds of colors are colors that make sense to me, that I enjoy using. And again, if you want to see this palette in action, I did use that in that PR video, but I just really like this, and even considering all these new collections, like this is definitely a palette that I continue to see value in, and I really, really like. Now, at the time I first talked about that palette, I hadn't experimented much with the rest of the collection, and I promised you that I would, and I have. And here's the other thing that I think is really worthwhile in there, and I'm not sure on the availability of this, but I do just want to comment on it. They've got some of these little duos where it's a pressed powder blush and something called the Luxe Lip Oil, and I think these are really nice. The one in particular that I love is the one called Herb Appeal. Love that name. And then this blush is called Whole 9 Yards, and it's kind of a satin finish berry, and there's a lip oil that comes with it, and this is in the shade Local Time. And this is what I'm wearing on my lips right now. It's definitely sheer, but I do love the texture of these. They're a little bit thicker than I would have expected. When I thought lip oil, I thought, oh, here we go, slimy, slippery, I bet, you know, running outside the lip line. No, there's a beautiful, luxurious thickness to these. And the blush, super pigmented. I kind of popped it on top of another thing that I'm going to talk about in a minute, but like, it's just really, really nice. And I've had good luck so far with any ColourPop pressed blush that I've used. I remembered really liking the ones in the Mulan collection also. You know, really nicely textured, nicely pigmented. So if you see other collections come out where they're offering that type of thing, I would say that's worth trying. And also Luxe lip oils, if we see these anymore. If you have an opportunity to try one of those, they are really nice. So that little set plus the palette would be my highlights from the Garden Variety collection. I'll mention a couple other things that I tried. They have these Jelly Much shadows here, which really, to me, I thought, while they have a pretty intensity, there's a ton of shimmer and shine, they're kind of a mess. Like, you've got to have this stopper that you pull out, tons of product sticks to the stopper. As you can see, you know, that's going to be an interesting shade. It does have this kind of jello texture, and then you spread it out, and there is intense concentrated shimmer. But I could see myself coming up with that from other products and potentially even other powder shadows. So to me, it's not necessarily something I really want to mess with. In terms of what I was sent, I got the shade She Grown and Seguro, and this one goes more gold. This one is a little more peach. If you're wanting to play with a different texture, you know, fine, go for it. It's just for me, I feel like, okay, I don't think it's an absolute must. I also got this mini mist kit, and I don't know if you guys have done a lot of experimenting with the different ColourPop like setting sprays. This one has Fresh AF, which is the energizing mist, and Glisten Up, which you kind of shake it up and you can see some shimmer in there. I've had a couple of these before actually, and they're nice. Like, I don't have any issue with them. I don't know that I've noticed a real like prolonged makeup wear anytime I've used them. They're more of a dewy look kind of product on me, and this one is kind of interesting because there's no like real sparkle in it. Any glow is super duper fine that you're shaking up into that product, so it may be a good value to get, you know, a little 2-pack of them if you're into that. But to me, it's definitely a side item to the star here, which is the palette, and then I do think those blushes and lip oils are really nice quality as well. I did get the Soul Glow oil, but I can't even pump it out. I pumped it a million times. I cannot get it out. So if I take it like this and I drop a little bit on, dropped a little too much. It has a nice scent. It's just gently tropical. Ultimately, what I come away seeing is just this glaze of glitter, like glitter flecks all over the skin. It seems like they would be binded with something really metallic when you look at this product, but that kind of goes away and all I end up seeing is glitter. Not a big fan of that, but just so you know, that's out there if you're into it. Now we're going to talk about the ColourPop Land, Candyland inspired collection. And this one, guys, I know there will be some people who will be like, it's childish, that's too juvenile for me, I'm not into that. Well, it's supposed to be. Like, they are really trying to embrace classic Candyland. They put their own kind of pastel spin on all of classic Candyland. Because guys, I've got kids and I've fairly recently purchased a new Candyland game and it's not the same. They don't have Plumpy, they don't have like some of these different classic characters on the board. It just looks totally different. And here, they really went off of the Candyland that those of us in the, I don't know, 80s and 90s played. So that I thought was really cool. In the PR package, they even sent a like Candyland board and playing pieces, and my girls have enjoyed that. I think that's so much fun. Friends, get a load of this beautiful PR package here. ColourPop Land. It's so much fun. I can't wait to try the stuff. But first, we're playing the game they included. Biddy, are you having fun with this? Mm-hmm. Were you? Which one? Oh, you're Princess Lolly, and I can be this one, right?
No.
Who's that one?
Lucky. You're the here.
Okay, I'll take it. Biddy, who's Plumpy?
Baba?
Bubba's Plumpy. And I can definitely embrace the childish quality of this collection. That's what makes it fun. You know, I kind of like when brands can fully jump into character, so to speak, and that's what they did here. I think the collection is really whimsical and lighthearted and cute and fun. But that being said, there's not a lot that I come away actually feeling is a must-have from this as far as the makeup products go. They've got the Queen Frostine. This is like a body glimmer kind of powder with a giant puff in here, and it's just like really fine sparkle all over. You know, my girls like that. Again, I'm not like super all about it. The mega Queen Frostine fans out there, maybe you're like, I gotta have that. Here's something I haven't busted into, but it's the Feelin' Plumpy set here of face milks. I already have these particular face milks. It's the watermelon, the papaya, and the coconut, and I like them. I think they make nice little like pre-makeup prep steps for the skin. You can mix things in with them. You can kind of use them like primers, you know, additional little moisture steps. So I like them. And if you're wanting to get into these more, like you're getting 3 right here in this kit. Plus you got this guy here, you know, that's what I'm talking about. Now the Candy Castle palette. This at a glance, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm gonna love that. You know what it reminded me of right away was a palette from Dose of Colors from a while back called Ice Cream. Do you remember that? It had this very similar color scheme with the pastels. And this is the kind of thing I look at and I wanna love it. You know, I want to dive into that. But I used it, and what I found a little frustrating was that we had only one real option for depth here. You know, we got a couple things that are kind of mid-tony, but we got a lot of light. These shades all up here, you know, they're very light. And I wish there was something more than just the dark brown to root all that. I mean, at least there is one. Okay, you threw us a bone, you gave us one, but we need a little bit more. And then I look at Garden Variety, and I'm thinking, okay, this gives me that green fix, the purple fix, the peach fix, but it also gives me so many other ways to anchor this. And no, it's not in the theme of Candyland, but you know, if I were going to go for one of these, this has everything this has pretty much and more, minus like that little buttercup yellow shade. So when I look at things that way, it's real easy for me to pass up this and focus my attention more toward that one. Here's another thing I wanted to love. They've got a roll-on gloss. I so want them to come out with some more of these, but change their formula a little bit. This is the Princess Lolly Rollerball, and it's fun to put on roll-on gloss. Like, I remember having quite a few roll-on glosses back in the day. You know, Lip Smacker had them out, different brands, NYC, I think. But this formula is so thin. It's too greasy for me to get past it. You know, I put it on and I'm thinking, I don't like that feel on the lips. It needs a little more thickness so it can feel like it's actually staying in place. I mean, it can still, trust me, I've used roller balls where there's a thicker product still able to roll through and get on your lips, and this is just too greasy. Now, inspired by the Mr. Mint section of the playing board, they've got several of these kind of tinted lip balm feeling products here, and I was kind of disappointed by these. They do all have kind of a minty scent. I will say it's not that they're bad. We've got one that's kind of a peachy color here. Let me just open them all up. We got a peach and basically 2 levels of pink. These are not a terrible product. I don't know if they're trying to test drive maybe a new thing for their line, but I wish they had more of a luxurious feel. If we're talking about these shiny kind of borderline tinted lip balm feeling products, there are some things on the market that feel so buttery, so smooth and rich on the lips. And these actually felt sort of a hint of dryness coming from them. I guess I was kind of wanting for them to come off more like they're just a tint product. You know, those have quite a bit of intensity, a really comfortable feel. Here, I felt they were kind of lacking in both of those categories. I like the packaging. I like there's little candy canes all over here. The scent is nice. It's kind of that sweet mint scent. And here's the last thing I'm going to talk about from the ColourPop Land collection. They put out 3 Super Shock cheek colors, and these are kind of the gumdrop inspired themed products. And they've got a couple that are pretty close in tone at first glance, Gummy More and Jolly, and they've all got kind of a swirl happening in them. My shade called Gummy More has a lot of shimmer. It's really hard to get past it. When I put it on the cheeks, I see just flecks of sparkle. So not a big fan of that, but these do smell amazing. Just open that up and I'm like, whoo, super fruity, you know, like gummy worms or Starburst or something like that. This one called Jolly, just more of a straight up peach. It seems to have less shimmer in it, but there is one that I absolutely love, and it's probably, yeah, it would be my favorite part of this collection, maybe outside of like the little face milk trio, and it's the one called Gumdrop Pass. I like this because I think it's a really unique, interesting shade. It's kind of like mauve-y, a really cool pink, and I do have this on my cheeks, kind of happening underneath a little bit of that Garden Variety collection blush, but I love popping these on just with my finger. I think they're a creamy feeling texture, but it's like they're dry enough to really easily blend on top of your powders, anything else you got going on the face, and I just think that's kind of a unique shade, and I like the little bit of sheen that comes out of it. I'm not even wearing a separate highlight today, but this has that little bit of sheen, but a nice kind of soft plum berry sort of color, some mauve infused in there, and it smells just so good, good enough to eat. So out of all the Candyland stuff, as much as I just want to dive in and say, hey, this is all so fun, get it all, what really impressed me was this blush. And like I said, if you haven't tried face milks, I think this is a good way to test them. Now, finally, my friends, we're going to talk about this Sunflower collection, which just absolutely, when I was seeing pictures of this online, it stole my heart. I thought it was so cheerful, so cute. It had me thinking like, why has nobody come out with a sunflower collection yet? And then I got the PR package and everything was boxed so beautifully with this sunflower exterior. It all looked like the outside of this palette on everything, and it was just so cheerful and fresh and cute. And I just thought, what a perfect late summer vibe with this collection. Absolutely love the whole feel of it. And while I'm holding this, let's just talk about the Lil Ray of Sunshine palette here. It's all matte. It's a warm matte with a big emphasis on the yellowy kind of mustardy tones. We've got several takes on that, and that is what I'm wearing on my eyes today. And I've worn this before and I really like it. Now I like an all matte eye, so this is appealing to me on that front. I like neutrals. This palette actually does a good job of not overlapping. While it might seem like you got a couple close shades here or there, I promise you the tones on them all are different and they're really easily blendable. I love the kind of look that that creates. If you're into neutrals with that real yellow lean, you'll like this, but if you don't so much go for yellows, it's definitely something you could skip, because once you start erasing all the shades with that yellow tone, you're not left with a whole lot. But I also love that there's kind of a reddish shade down in here, a really dark brown. It makes creating a look so easy, and this is definitely one of my favorite things out of everything I'm talking about. You know, the Garden Variety palette, I love this. I love this as well. These 9-color palettes that they make are super affordable. Get a bunch of fun basic mattes that I think are just very, very fall ready, and that cute exterior that you just want to have like sitting out in your room. It's like, no, I don't need flowers. I'll take a palette with flowers on it. Lasts longer, right? So long story short, that is my pick product from this collection. That's the one thing that I would definitely get. I will mention these liners. There's a gold and a rich brown. I've got this brown on for my look today, and it glides on super easily. In my experience, unless maybe there's been a formula change, these liners don't last super long. I've found them in the past, these cream gel liners, drying out. Like, they start out so amazingly creamy, but they don't stay that way. There are many other liners in my collection that have outlasted these. So it's kind of a try at your own risk kind of thing. If you're wanting a gold, if you're wanting a rich brown that's definitely true brown, okay? It's not one of those really, really cool near black browns. It's just got a lot of richness and some warmth in it. Not terrible products, and I can't vouch for these particular ones with how well they're gonna like last me and not dry up. And by dry up, I mean the sticks in some of them that I've had just literally shrunk on me, and it seemed like it happened way sooner than it should have. But these could be different. I don't want to prejudge that aspect of them. There's also a couple of Super Shock shadows, and you might like these as a way to kind of accentuate your matte look. The one called Flower Child I especially like, and I used this in my look the other day. Just kind of swiped it over the lid after doing an all matte eye, and I thought it was really pretty. And the other shade is going to be a true gold here. This was the one called In Harmony. So if you're interested in those pops, if you're not so much loving the all matte and you need some kind of shimmer in there, it does look pretty. And I like that it's more of a concentrated color, not just like this sheer wash of glitter. I think it's beautiful, but really, if I didn't have this whole PR collection, I could get that same effect from just another shimmery eyeshadow that I have, or like a liquid glitter or something, you know, something of that nature. So I don't see it as essential. I also don't see these glosses as essential. They're both incredibly sheer. One is more of just like a shimmery glaze. One has maybe a hint more opacity to it, but still, all in all, I'm seeing my lips through these. They are just not a must-have to me at all. They put out something called Glow Up Face Oil. I don't know if that's an existing product. It's fine, you know, no problem. I'm just not really in need of that kind of product at all right now. And then this Lemon Drop from Sol, the Shimmering Dry Oil, much like the effect I get from this one. It's kind of odd how similar these actually end up being once you just see them blended out on the skin. I just see this sheer like spray of glitter all over my body. Don't really need it. Doesn't smell like Lemon Drop either. It's got that borderline tropical scent that I've smelled before in a lot of these Sol products. So again, guys, ColourPop, shooting out the collections. I'm just trying to streamline this and really hit the highlights of what I think is great. Garden Variety palette I think is really amazing. I also liked their blush and the lip oil from that collection, but this would be number one for sure. From the ColourPop Land collection, my number one thing, not just picking one thing out of obligation, but I do legitimately like the Gumdrop Pass Super Shock Cheek. Such a pretty shade, definitely something worth trying there. And then from the Sunflower collection, the Little Ray of Sunshine palette. I thought this was done really well. The only thing is I didn't quite understand why they used this light yellow background, and then it's really hard to read sometimes at different angles what those words say. There's just not much contrast there. But sorting through a lot of products, those are my top picks. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy these roundups, if you enjoy sort of a simplification out of a ton of different products, let me know and I can do more of these videos. But I'm so grateful that you chose to join me today, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.